hiking, go running, walking outside. Lots of people like to run, picnics, sports in general, hammock, going for walks, getting ice cream, Chaser's patio, be outside. Okay, great. So, now we want to talk about these questions. So, with this activity that you've chosen, and if you didn't get to write one on the board, just think of something in your head. Would it be available to you if you had a disability of some sort? So, would you be able to run if you had a disability? What do you guys think? Depends which form.
Like which kind of a disability?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it definitely does, which is very important. What about going to Chaser's patio? Like, do you think you'd be able to do that? It's a bar. Would that be available to you if you had a disability, any disability?
Yes.
Yes, but what do you think about like social stigmas? Like you going to the bar and feeling like everyone's staring at you. There's stuff like that as well. So now I would love it if you guys just like shouted it out or whatever. But what changes do you think could be made so that people are able to do these activities? We're already doing them in adaptive fitness. So. Yes, Shay.
I have to share with you because this was important today. When I left class, I ran into Adam, and I don't remember his last name, but you might know him. He's in the program, and he was my intern when I was in the hospital. And he was working with me within 2 weeks of my stroke. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh my God, Shay, look at you, you're walking. You're walking." He was stunned because just getting me out of bed and into a chair was a challenge enough. And I told him the most important thing you can do is, number one, give people a sense that they can trust you, and give them a sense of confidence. Because those are the two biggest things that are going to make a difference in somebody moving beyond a disability. There has to be trust, there has to be confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get that, that's what you do that's most important.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Shay.
Mm-hmm. So, giving people, that's how we can change it. That's one way, is allowing people with a disability to trust you and feel confident despite their thing they have to overcome. It's definitely important. And so, what can we do to make those changes? So, if we're trying to instill trust between people and making them more confident, what can we do? What can we actively do?
Just like trying to reduce stigma and stuff like that. Like just like people because people like are afraid of what they don't understand or what they think are differences.
Yeah, that's so true. Education is key. And so you can do education in like a classroom type setting like this, but you can also do education just when you're out on the street and you see something, you can say something, Yeah.
Creating a inclusive environment at a younger age, like with the kids program, where I guess what Tim talks about a lot is like creating after-school activities that is inclusive to all body types. And I think that would help like children become more inclusive towards like kids in like special education classrooms, because sometimes our society like makes it so that they come into the schools like wondering like what's different about people in like special education classrooms, when we could be like creating that inclusive environment from the start, which would help like when they move into the real world.
I agree, like making someone think a certain way from a young age is super important. I remember I took a class and they just showed these kids that were in a class and they didn't have a disability, but they were in the same class as a kid that did, and it was like a sense of pride, and they loved like hanging out with this person that had a disability, or like helping them get to recess, or and then as they get older, they look at someone with a disability quite differently, as someone to befriend. Yeah. Those are both very good ideas.
I have one.
Yeah.
I feel like also like creating, I feel like what we do in adaptive fitness in here is like creating safe spaces to have like a discourse about mobility differences and like able-bodied privilege and things, just to be able to talk about those things in an open environment.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's very important.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that Shay shared first. That she feels like she can trust people, as she said. Yeah.
I can't tell you how much I respect each and every one of you for making this a chosen profession you're going to go into. It says a lot about who you are already. And I don't see any of you having any problem with being able to do the things you're going to do because you care about other people first. And you're automatically going to instill that trust and confidence when you are that way.
Anything else?
This is really specific.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Like changing like the way like our media like not just like more representation of disabled individuals and people with disabilities, but like when like there's an art like there's often like articles about like, oh, this guy who took this girl with Down syndrome to prom, and then like the whole article is centered around like the guys who took her to prom and not like the actual girl, or like anytime someone with a disability does something, it's always like centered around like, oh, their friends are so great and accepting. It's like that is really not the point.
Yeah, no, it's true. Putting the focus on the person that we want to include more as opposed to the person that is amazing and included them.
You don't get a gold star for not being a jerk.
Yeah, very good point. What about the idea of creating opportunities for people to be active? Most of you put activities, so running and playing soccer and stuff like that. What about the difference between making a place for someone to do specifically adapted soccer, as opposed to creating a space for people to come and, no matter what their disability, be able to like do an activity? Or I explained that wrong, but like just adapting it so that someone that's a paraplegic can play soccer, as opposed to adapting it so that any type of disability could play soccer. What do you guys think of that difference? Are both important? Yeah.
I think that's like it could go either way, because like either it could be a situation where like they feel more accepted because it's like everyone is doing the same thing, but like depending on like their ability, I wouldn't want them to like feel like put down by the fact that they maybe can't like perform equally and then like feel bad about their disability. So I feel like it kind of could go either way in that thing.
Yeah, definitely. Any other thoughts on that? My first thought is they probably already do feel unable. And so just being able to be part of something where they can do it, maybe not as well. Yeah. Like they probably deal with that feeling every day. Yeah. What time is it?
I had one more quick thing.
6:42.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know we've been using the word like disability now, but I know Tim a lot of times tries to use like, you know, differently abled and like mobility differences, and like that's obviously not like, you know, typical like rhetoric that we use in society, but I feel like those words are much more representative of like the diversity of people with mobility differences rather than disabled sounds, you know, kind of just like one thing. I don't know, does that make sense? Like it is more representative. It's like more of a dimension of diversity rather than like, you know, a huge difference or like a different group of people.
Like not every person
Yeah,
with
it's not
a
a binary.
disability is the same.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that you don't have like ability, which that word
Right.
implies. But
So changing
yeah.
how people talk is also an important aspect
Mm-hmm.
of change. Cool. Well, thank you guys. We just wanted to start with something to get you thinking because this is kind of why we're here, like why this club exists. That's one aspect of it. So now we're going to, well, welcome to the meeting. We're going to hear from our speaker for tonight. Her name is Catherine Hagel. And she's from MSCR, which is Madison School and Community Recreation. And she specifically works with the adaptive group. So we're going to hear what she has to say about that community in Madison.
So my name is Catherine Hagel. Most people call me Kat. So if you have questions, call me Kat. Sound a lot better. I am an adaptive field supervisor at MSCR. I've been there for probably about 3 years now. I do that part-time. A lot of our jobs at MSCR are part-time. How many people in here are education majors? Anybody in here? I just wonder because it's
Technically.
yeah, it's it all? Okay.
Most of us are in the School of Education.
Okay. That's what I was kind of wondering when I walked in. Just because Madison Community and Recreation, it runs out of the Madison Metro School District. And most people don't realize that we are the recreational division of it. But in specific field that I do, I work mostly with adults who have cognitive or physical disabilities. What we do is we take people who would think I can't do anything outside of a group home or my support system, and we place them into activities. A lot of our activities in these books, I mean, I didn't bring enough obviously for everybody, but if you guys wanted to pass these out and just kind of gather around to look at them, and turn to page 9, you might have to. Directly involved placing adults into these classes. Now, how many people here have worked with adults who have cognitive or physical disabilities? Raise them high. How many have worked with children? You guys just want to on this one? Once again, it's page 9. Do you have a specific preference? And, you know, I mean, it's not, some people work very well with children, some people work very well with adults. We can place you into programs, whether it be volunteer or if you wanted employment with MSCR. Our children's programs that we actually used to run in our adaptive have dwindled down, unfortunately, just because Special Olympics lost a lot of their funding over the past 2 years. So we did offer young athletes. We had a great soccer program where we would pair brothers and sisters and they'd play soccer together, but unfortunately we don't have the support for that. What we do offer now for children is called inclusion. Say that you wanted to work with a child, you'd be put into a camp or an after-school program like you were mentioning on a one-on-one basis, which is a great way to get your foot in the door, and it's also a great way of employment or volunteering for hours that you may need for any class. So I don't know if you're familiar with an after-school setting. You basically go into kind of a little bit more of an educational but a free structure environment, and that can be pretty chaotic to a person who might have autism or a child who may not be able to keep up with other children. It's really important that they have that support there. So if you love working with children, I really encourage you to look into our programmings. And on page 9, we don't list the inclusion part of it, but the page prior, you can get a hold of somebody and apply for inclusion services for a volunteer basis or for that employment. What I work with, if you look at page 9, are overseeing programs such as our fit clubs, the water walking, our city clubs. I noticed a lot of you wrote down things that you'd like to do in the summer. What do you think a typical city club or a fit club does? I mean, when you put, say, fit club or city club. Anybody? What do you imagine when I say fit club for adults, adaptive setting? I'm gonna start calling on names.
Name tags.
I mean, does anything come to mind? I mean, there's no wrong answer. It's really what the concept is and what we're trying to get away from. With MSCR, like I said, we get pretty intense. We have...
I was just going to say anything that would get you fitter than you are right now.
Okay. Okay. So you would think that a typical fit club might be going in and doing some basic stretches or bouncing on one of the big rubber balls or, walking around the block or something. And that's that's obviously doing more than what you're doing when you're sitting at home. What our fit clubs do is we do a wide range of events. I'm sending the group of fit club out this Saturday actually to Boulder's Gym. Who knows what Boulder's Gym is? They're going rock climbing.
We had a rock climbing event.
Yeah, I mean, if you're working with MSCR, you're going on these events with people. And you're there, whether you're a volunteer or an employee, you're assisting them, and you do get to climb. We also take them out to, say, a city club. Standard City Club is kind of a recreational, get-to-know, fun event type of group. When you really want to have some type of physical activity, but then again, you want to have a recreational where you have community around you and a lot of sports. So you get a lot of arts, you get a lot of crafts, you get a lot of cooking activities. We take out groups to the pumpkin patch. We let them shoot off the big pumpkin shooter. We go on a lot of hay rides. So City Club and Fit Club are two entirely different aspects for adaptive programming, but they both are very important, and they are probably, since I've been running them, the numbers have been increasing. We went from a Fit Club at Memorial that was 13, now we have 45 in a year. So it's amazing, and we do need that support out there. We need a lot of one-on-one. We need a lot of employees out there to help them and assist them. A typical one, a Fit Club on a Friday night at Memorial is going to run, and you're going to have anything from basketball to swimming to cycling. So you have 3 different events that you're constantly moving people around, and you also get to work out and be there right now inside of them, keeping them company and assisting them. Our largest program, if you look, is our water walking program. This takes a lot to run. When you hear water walking, what do you think? Do you think you're giving swimming lessons? Do you think you're giving, what do you think of when you think water walking? Okay.
I think of allowing people that can't walk to be able to walk because they're in the water and there's more buoyancy,
buoyancy.
but also resistance if you're doing like resistance training, but with more support.
Our water walking program, you brought up an interesting point when she had asked earlier, would you feel better being with all paraplegic, or would you rather be accepted with all types of people? We take in all types of people. And, you really want to get away from that. It has to be one particular group. So in things like our water walking program, you get a variety of people that come in there, and it is exactly what it says. You are walking around the pool. It's a very small pool. It's a heated pool, but you're assisting people in the pool, and you're there to keep them company, give them that moral support. So you may be there. You might be playing volleyball. You might be watching someone do really short laps. You may be playing basketball. You may be playing tag or Marco Polo. So you never quite know what you're going to get when you walk in there, but every single time that I've gone down there, everybody's having a great time. You put on the music, and that's what our programming is about. We're really trying to get people back in the mood that you can be out there in the community, you can do things, and you have every right to be out there, and we want you there. So that's really what Madison School and Community Recreation does with their adaptive programming. As far as volunteering, how many people need volunteer hours in order to fill class requirements? We take in a lot of our RSE 100 students, and a lot of them I hire on for our water walking program because they like it so much. Nobody here does volunteering, you just do it on a regular basis? That's something that everybody's interested in?
It's important for grad school. So
Yeah. It's really good on a resume. Yeah. It's really good for anything for grad school, but even if you're in the educational field, people like to see that. I volunteered. Or even if you're employed by MSCR, it's one of those jobs that gets you that foot in the door. No matter what school district you go to, I work for the Madison Metro School District. Oh, you have experience. So that's how we do our volunteering. I did bring some of our paper forms for volunteering. Everything's really done online. This is kind of a waste of a tree. You can go right to the website and apply online. But if you feel more confident, and I do run into a lot of people who do not feel comfortable with the computer, please say you're comfortable with the computer in this room. But if you're not, you can fill out one of these and fax it over to the MSDR office or to the number that's located on my business card, which I'll leave for you guys. As far as employment, How many people are sticking around for the summer? Yeah, are you looking for employment right now? Yeah. Right now is the time to get online to the MSCR website and apply. Everything is done online for applying at MSCR. The reason I say to do it now is because now is when they're reviewing all the applications. Now your position obviously won't start up in the summertime, and once again, if you're interested in working with children, indicate that. I want to be an inclusion staff at a camp. I want to go to Circus World every single week. I want to go swimming, and that's perfectly fine. Or if you want to work, you know, in the pool, LAF pool, or if you have lifeguarding experience, we want you. We really want people. So definitely get online and go ahead and apply there. But even with applying online, indicate that you want that adaptive field, because what's going to happen is that if I look at your application and you've applied that I want inclusion and I want adaptive, we've got inclusion, adaptive, we run a side by side. But one person will call you, and then I'll try to call you, or Chad will try to call you, and then we're arguing about who gets the person for an interview because they haven't indicated inclusion or adaptive. So it's definitely a fine line. If you choose to work with children, that's perfectly fine, but just make sure that you're indicating, I want to work with children or I want to work with adults. Do you have any questions as you look down our list about any of our programs? A lot of those classes that you see on there are one-person run programs, and they are volunteer assist, anything that would be the chair exercises, the fitness walking. That's one instructor, and they've been there for years. But anything that you would look at for volunteering or employment for water walking, our beef ball is new. That's going to be a baseball. Currently, right now, we are running kind of a soccer volleyball. It goes both ways for people who are blind. And that's kind of a neat concept. It's a ball with a bell. The same thing is going to run with the softball in the summertime. So that's a new sport. That's an opportunity. It's like crickets in here. Does anybody have any questions about any of ours?
Raise your hand if you're a freshman. So even if you're like going home this first summer back home, really keep this in the back of your mind for when you're older, because it's really important to get volunteering, work experience in unique fields, no matter what healthcare experience you're trying to go into. It'll set you apart for your resume, for your application for grad school, for anything. This is a really good opportunity working with MSCR.
One of the benefits, and I'm going to say that's a good point, if you guys do go home for the summertime, you can apply about mid-August or even early August for the fall session. The way our hours run is in the summertime, you can get up to 40 hours. But at the start of the school year, from that September till about June, the hours are cut back to 18.5. There's obviously no benefits involved in it, but that's a good way of regulating yourself if you want a steady job and income, that you can keep that all the way through college. And one of the best things about working for the MSCR is that, say you get into the adaptive programming, and you've done that, you did it for 6 months, and you're like, you know what, I kind of want to go into soccer, or, you know, I've really kind of stretched my horizons, I want to become a physical education teacher, and I want to try out basketball. You can apply for basketball. Your foot is already in the door. So it's not like you're committed just to the adaptive programming. You can take that inclusion, now that you have worked in that experience, and you can take it anywhere you want to go in all those different departments. You could teach a ceramics class. You can teach watercolor. You could teach a cooking class, ballet, yoga. It's kind of, you know, endless there. And also, if you had an idea or a specialty, there would be no, you could bring it to me, you could bring it to Chad, and we'd try to get that on the board for you and start up a class for you. So,
Are the locations on a bus line?
a lot of our locations, yes. I would say that the majority, because they're all schools. And it's kind of hard to get to a school because we have a lot of parents that send kids to schools if you don't have a bus line near it. Anything that would be, our office is located on Regent, say you Camp Randall, and then you keep going down Regent all the way at the end. So a lot of anything that we would have for field trips in the summertime, you just go right down to the Regent office, park right there in the parking lot, and the bus would take you. Anybody else? Yeah.
Do you have opportunities for full and part-time or?
In the summertime? Oh yeah, absolutely. You can mix and match. Say you wanted to do camps half the day and you wanted to come work with adults at night. Absolutely. You can get up to 40 hours. Like I said though, as soon as September 1st hits, you're back to 18.5. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you have mostly adults or kids in this program? What's the range?
The programs that I oversee are mostly adults.
Mostly adults.
Yes. We did have young athletes and the soccer program, but since the Special Olympics, we lost that funding. But now what we do have is inclusion staff that work one-on-one with kids. Sometimes they give swim lessons. A lot of them are after school, before school programs. They work our summer camps. So we do ask for a lot of inclusion staff to apply. If you're interested in working with kids and you have a big, big heart, and you can take that onset of 60 kids or how many are in the camp and everything and be able to still be there, absolutely.
Any last minute questions for Kat?
Yeah.
Kat, how did you get involved in the adaptive field? What kind of drove you towards that?
I started with Special Olympics and I ran the young athletes for about a year and a half. And I took the young athletes from 3 kids up to about 17. And 17 2.5-year-olds running around the room is quite the feat. That's when you're closing the door saying, don't go anywhere. Yeah, it was very much heartbreaking to lose young athletes and to watch it kind of go down because Special Olympics couldn't support it any longer. But that's how I basically transitioned out of and went into the field, adaptive field supervisor. So I've been in this for about 3 years now. Before that, I worked as a young athletes instructor. And, you know, I work a full job on the side. You know, I have my 3 kids I go home to. So I work 40 hours and then I do my 15 hours a week or whatever for MSCR. And it doesn't take away from anything else. I mean, you know, these things are so recreational that you actually enjoy getting out. I will leave the business cards. If you guys do have questions that come up, please just email me. Sometimes when you're under pressure, I know that you guys just don't want to answer.
One thing I see is that there's a lot of similarities between our program, Adaptive Fitness, and this program. So that just shows you that the changes that we want to make with these activities are happening in the community, and people like Kat are helping make that happen. So if at all you're interested in doing something like this or continuing, this would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think as the seasons change, obviously you do different sports. I mean, right now, we just finished up our downhill skiing. And that's quite an awesome thing to see. It's a bunch of people get out there and just know that they can do it. And they thought they never could.
Mm-hmm.
How do you like get more members like into your programs? Like, do you like advertise it or?
We advertise it and then we work with a lot of agencies. That's the other part of my job. I get to go around and talk with the agencies and the staffs and everything and promote the programs. We do have the Disability Pride Festival that also comes up that a lot of people will stop by the booth and have interest in the programs. And that comes up in the summertime. That's actually quite the event.
In July, right?
Yeah, over at Terry Park down there. And that's something I encourage everybody to go to. It's just a good time. But you just get out in the community and you really kind of promote it more and more. Yeah.
Do other communities in the area or the region have similar programs?
They do, but they're not a part of the Dane Company. Well, I mean, even Wanakee has a separate little program, but they still come here for a lot of the programs at MSCR. But since it's run from the Madison Metro School District, a lot of people are kind of like, well, that's Madison. And it's just so untrue. You could live out in Oregon and come to our programs. You could live over in Middleton, which a lot of people do, and come to our programs. But because it is linked to the Madison Metro School District, they think that it's just priority for Madison.
Well, just because of time, we probably should get going. So let's thank Kat for coming in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you guys. I will go ahead and leave those cards over there, and if people want to take it, they can, and feel free to email me. All right. And I look forward to seeing you guys.
Otherwise, you can head on out.
All right.
Thank you, Kat.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, cool. So the next topic is elections. They're coming up soon. We'll have a slide with all the dates that you would need to know, but think about if you want to be on the board because
Okay, I can move it again.
okay, no, this is fine.
Okay.
Because like we showed you guys a couple weeks ago, a lot of us are seniors and we're leaving, and we care just as much as you guys about this program and it continuing, and this student org continuing, and so we need very enthusiastic people such as yourselves to step up, be the board, and lead on the next group of people that are coming in to just grow this student org and this program, which is adaptive fitness. So what do you need to do if you're interested? Write a paragraph, so 250 to 300 words, and it's basically just explaining why you would be good for the position, what things you could contribute, what you would want to change or add to it, anything along those lines. And that paragraph, the purpose of it, is to go into the online poll that we'll have. That's the way that we're going to do actual elections and voting for who we'd like to be the next year's board. So that's the first step, and you then just email that paragraph to Haley, our communications coordinator, by March 22nd, I think it is. So that's during spring break. So you'd have that beginning part of spring break to finish it up if you wanted. And that just lets us know that you're interested, this is what you're running for. And then the week we come back, so the Tuesday we come back from break, we'll have our candidates, I don't even know what it's called, you say why you, speech. There you go. That simple word, speech.
Words are good.
And so it would be a 2 to 3 minute speech. We know that some people are at home and they might want to run, but they couldn't come to meetings this semester and this year. So even if you can't come to the meeting, it's okay. You don't have to do the speech part of it. You could just have your paragraph online when we do the voting, and just explain why you think you should get this position and why you're qualified through that paragraph. But if you are able to come to meetings, we'll have speeches at that time. And then the last thing you need to know is because being a board member is an important position and very, well, it's time consuming and very rewarding.
There's some things that we want to teach you to make it be easier for you next year, so you don't have to try to figure it all out like we did this year. We want to give you the knowledge that we have, so you don't have to have those first few meetings where we're like, we don't know how to run a meeting.
Yes, exactly. So what that means is you would come and be part of the last 3 board meetings, and so we meet opposite these general meetings. So instead of once every 2 weeks spending an hour with a leadership in adaptive fitness, you spend it every week. And so there's 3 more meetings. So your eligibility is just that you are an active member at the end of this semester. And then the only special thing on the side is that if you want to be president, we think it's important for you to have been on the board the year before. So this is talking a little bit more about that mentorship that we want to do. So the first meeting would be on April 5th. It's the week right after we have elections. And we will tell you who the new board is the Sunday right before that. So if you're applying, kind of be aware that you'll be going to the meeting right after you get selected. And if you do have a conflict with this, we do understand that people might have something, especially for the people at home that you might want to run. You can't come to these meetings, and this time slot is just taken up. Just talk to Tina about it, and we can work something out. So basically, it's to observe how we run our board meetings. It has to be very timed and efficient, and learn more about your role and your responsibilities and stuff like that. And then the other thing is, if you do want to, you can run for 2 positions, and then when you email Haley, you would just indicate the ranking of your preference. So I'd rather be this, and then I could be this as well. And that just allows you, if you are really wanting to be on the board, more opportunity to be on there in some capacity. And so if you do run for 2, we would like 2 different paragraphs, because you'd be doing 2 different things, and then also a speech for both. So here's the timeline. Like I said, March 22nd is the self-nomination and your paragraph. The 29th is when we give the speeches. 31st is when the online poll will be opened up, and we want everyone to vote because it's important to you who's leading you. It'll close that Sunday, and then those are the 3 exec meetings that you would go to. So now we're going to quickly go through the positions so you can kind of just see it in writing what it would entail if you were to become an exec member. And so here's the list, and we'll just run through them all. So I am the president. What do? I lead all the general and executive board meetings. I'm the main contact to Tim, so that's important. There's really close communication between Tim and I. I keep him up to date on what we're doing. I get his input. That's important. He loves giving his opinion on how we do something, what we do. He gives ideas, which is part of the last point, is presenting new possible ideas. He might present them. I might get an email from someone really random that just found our organization listed there, and they might present us something like for us to be able to do, and so I'd present that to the group, to the board first, if they thought this was something that we should open up to the general members as an opportunity. And then you're basically managing people. So you make sure everybody else is on task and they're doing their duties, and just making sure everything gets done on time and efficiently and all that kind of stuff. So, sit down.
All right. So the vice president, treasurer positions essentially has to do with money mainly. The treasurer aspect of the title, I'm the one that all the receipts come to. I file everything, keep it safe, everything's logged accurately. Make a lot of stops at UW Credit Union and Unit South. I'm really glad I only live a block away, but like withdrawals, deposits, stuff like that. Like this year in particular, since it was our first, like I did spent a lot of time like setting up a lot of stuff that the next vice president treasurer doesn't necessarily have to worry about. But you will have like a LAF debit card in your name, which is like kind of cool because it literally says LAF on it. I don't know, but collecting dues each semester. If you're kind of like feel like nervous about that aspect of it, like don't be like I don't have like a super extensive business knowledge or anything, like so don't worry about that part. And then like the vice president side, just like assisting the president and like all the other board members, just kind of filling in random places. And also attending Badger Step Up every semester is something each org on campus has to do in order to remain registered student org. And it's essentially like an alcohol class for student orgs. It's like 2 hours a semester. So, I mean, that's just like a very minor time commitment thing, but that's also a duty that needs to be done. So, I mean, there's other stuff too, but I guess those would be the main ones. So, yeah.
Okay, so for communications coordinator, it's a lot of like organizational bookkeeping type things. So I obviously keep track of attendance, like making the sign-in sheet and then marking it down on like an Excel spreadsheet of who all comes to the meetings. Adding members to the WISC list, and then writing the recap email. That's probably one of the most time-consuming things of this position. So like having to go through the PowerPoint and take every little thing that we talked about and writing a detailed summary so if someone missed it, they can look back at it. And then at the exec board meetings, taking the minutes. So basically typing up everything that's said, keeping it in a Google Doc so people can look back at it. And then, like I said, organizing Google Docs for LAF board. So just like a lot of organizational things. it's not terribly difficult, but it's kind of time consuming. But it's definitely, if you're an organizational person, I would definitely look into doing that.
Okay, so marketing coordinator duties. I have been doing the apparel design and orders, except for this semester. Some of you guys have helped me out with the apparel design, so thank you. And I'm involved with creating promotional materials for adapted fitness events and the student org fair. Basically, like, I don't know, I made that logo, the flyers, like pretty much all of those types of things as things come up throughout the year. And then also just generally changing perceptions of limitation on campus and the community. So I don't know, I think with marketing coordinator, if you're like doing creative things, you know, it's a really great position because you can sort of do a lot of what you want with it. Like I just sort of had the idea to do these pictures in the client of the week thing, if you guys have seen that on the Facebook page. And anyone who's marketing coordinator could carry that out next year, come up with your own ideas. So I would definitely encourage you guys to run. You can kind of have fun and do what you want with it. So I don't know, it's a pretty good position.
All right, fundraising coordinator focuses on raising money for all the events we do and making sure that we can come up with more events and continue to help our clients. And then we have to organize and decide what events we want to do and make sure that everyone knows about them, including students and community members, and maybe even other student organizations, so that we can come together and make it a good event. If you have any more questions, you can come talk to me, but it's not too hard. There's some time-consuming things. Talking to businesses, and like if you're doing a restaurant night or for our bake sale, we have to find a place where we can set up. And so, any questions?
Alright, so the student org is new in itself. But this position was new this semester, so one of the main things is that this position can be changed if you choose to apply. Not super changed, but I mean, be creative with it as well. So some of the things that I've done this year was bringing in speakers like Kat and Greg from Junior Nationals, the last meeting that we had. So that's good outreach for the community, give you guys access to the community and adaptive sports in general. Recruitment of new members, I'd like to do this or have this position more involved with recruitment, so outreaching, tabling, stuff like that, going to the student org fair. You should have a good knowledge of this position so that you can tell other people on campus about it. Collaboration with other student organizations, that is something I would like to see next semester as well. We've kind of undertaken the whole Junior Nationals phenomenon thing, so that's a big event coming up. So I've focused on that a lot more, but I would like to see more collaboration between pre-PT, OT, other student orgs that have been mentioned in class here as well. And then being creative again, creating and organizing events. We did the Boulders rock climbing, helping out with Berkey and helping out with Badger State games. That unfortunately didn't happen, but just being creative and recruiting and helping volunteers get involved. So that's the outreach part of it.
Alright, I'm a competitive events coordinator. So this position was originally just Berkey coordinator, but with the startup of Badger State games and the opportunity to help with Junior Nationals, it's become more of a widespread position to hold. So some of the duties that you would take on if you would take this position over are working with organizations outside of adaptive fitness. So Berkey obviously was a big one. Badger State games didn't happen this year, but will happen next year because of efforts put in with me and clients and reaching out to them. And then Junior Nationals, a lot of you heard Greg come in and talk. We're going to be working closely with him, so I'll have updates for that coming up soon. So recruiting athletes and volunteers to participate in these events once you have them kind of set up. A lot of people are very hesitant to try something new. So some of the people who skied with us this year at Berkey had never done it before. So it kind of takes some prodding. Same thing for volunteers. It's a 2-day commitment for Berkey, so they're missing classes. It kind of takes a little, well, hey, this is a really good opportunity. Hey, it's 5 points. Hey, are you interested in this? Just kind of being a little bit pushy, but knowing your limits at the same time. So organizing competitions and races, you have to take care of travel accommodations. So I set up the hotel, the cars, what times we were leaving, and I organized a practice for it. And kind of overall improving the quality of competition for people with diverse abilities. So a lot of times, like Berkey used to be an event where they were like, oh, we're including people, but we put you on a separate day. We're not going to time your race, and no one's going to be there while you're racing. This year, I think the people that came and volunteered would agree, it was much more inclusive. The skiers got their times. There were people cheering them on for about a whole kilometer of the race. And it was kind of a bigger event. I'd still like to get that to grow, obviously, in all aspects of competition. And creating new opportunities for people with diverse abilities. So Badger State Games is not just a skiing event. It is for adapted opportunities right now. But I have the contact, the commissioner of Badger State Games, and I would pass it on to whoever would take over my position to kind of get on board with him and create new events. So not just skiing, you have snowshoeing, people playing adapted hockey. They're just, the door's open to really kind of exploit this organization and a lot of others. So if you guys have any questions, come up and talk to me or email me if you don't want to.
Oh, this badge is back. Do you want to go through this?
Yeah. So this position was held by someone last semester. So some of you were there, some of you recently joined this semester. But Badgers Adapt is something that happens in the fall. It's kind of our big event of the fall, just as open house is the big event of the semester, or the spring semester. So it's raising awareness of adapting activity for people in the community, and it's held at the surf. It has been for the last 2 or 3 years, and basically you're planning this event. What Kelsey did, who was the position last semester, she would work really closely with the surf woman that would be in charge of that, and work with Tim, plan out who was going to come to the event, plan out people tabling. That's how we met Kat, was actually at Badgers Adapt. She came and tabled at Badgers Adapt about MSCR. You would reserve the space, you would get donations, recruit all of us to be part of it. We needed tons of volunteers to guide people that were coming to see the event and didn't know how to get up to the correct gym, stuff like that. And this position would work really closely with marketing. Hannah did a lot for postering and letting people know on campus. And then again with communications, letting our members know you need to help us out in this area and this area. So that's kind of what that event is, or that coordinator position is.
Okay, so I'll go quick with mine. We're getting short on time. But I'm the open house coordinator. You guys have heard me talking to you a lot recently. My main task is to plan and improve the open house during the spring semester. You do some planning during the fall semester, and you definitely contribute to the board during the fall, but the bulk of your work is during the spring. So if like your class schedule is going to be a lot harder in the spring, maybe not the best position for you. Coordinate a way to showcase the clients. This year it's the Faces of Adapted Fitness, but next year it could be something completely different. This also involves a lot of close work with marketing to do that. Outreach and publicizing about the open house is a big thing, like emailing different professors, emailing PTs, OTs, all of that type of thing. Whether you're doing it yourself or making sure that someone does it, but just making sure that the word gets out about the open house, because that's a big way that people learn about what we do. And then it's also, you communicate a lot between the board, the organization, all of you guys, and Tim to see what everyone wants in the open house, because you're planning how people are going to come and learn about adapted fitness. So it's important that you have everyone's ideas and are including all those things when you're organizing it. So that's pretty much it. If you have any more questions, talk to me after. But I'm going to move on.
So because we really don't have much time, I think we won't go through updates because we have like 5 minutes left.
Do it like
rapid fire.
Rapid fire updates.
Let's just
Yeah.
yell them out.
Yeah. I think we should at least go through.
Okay.
All right. You still not paid your dues. I'm still collecting them. New Point Opportunity 2016 Pi Mile Run put on by Tau Beta Pi Engineering Society. All proceeds are going to Octopus, which is why I put that dog picture up there, and those dogs are awesome. 5K, 10K, Saturday, April 2nd, 9 a.m. I've told there's going to be a lot of puppies and pie there. I don't know, but I'm probably going to go for the dogs and the dessert. 2 points if you do that. If you register for Cycle First Sight, 2 points, email me. So far only one person has emailed me. So you guys should all sign up. It's this Saturday. It's going to be really fun. Yeah.
Okay, so I totaled everyone's points, and Yasmina is still in the lead with 10, and then Anna is with 8, and then Rachel, Peter, and Betty have 7, and then everyone else is very close. There's still a lot of time to get points, so like don't worry about it if you're not up there yet, but that's where we are right now.
Shay, did you have something to say quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that cycle site. Registration closes on Friday. So we need them maybe in class on Thursday, just remind everybody if they want to do it. They need to get online and do it by Friday, because that's when they close. We will be at the net, we're scheduled to be there from 11 to noon. So that's the time we'll be riding. There is no limit as to how long you have to ride or how many miles you have to go. There is also no set amount of money you have to raise to participate. Basically, you'll go on and register, pay a registration fee, and if you want to donate more after that, it's up to you. I know I'm going to hit both my kids up and have them help me with donations as well. I figure I might as well give them an opportunity to be, helpful to the community of people like me. You might want to try and see if you can sell this to any of your clients, going back to what we were talking about with people of different abilities, and seeing if you can talk some of them into wanting to participate in an event that is going to help people with a different ability than maybe the one that they're deficient in. Helps to remind us of things we have that are good and lets us know that we can do things that maybe we didn't think we were capable of. And you can help sell your clients on those things too, because I think that's always an important thing to be able to do.
If you register and can't go to that time, can you still?
You can submit your time. You can ride at your own. You just register as a free rider, which means you can ride at your discretion anytime. You don't have to send in any monies beyond the registration until April 15th. So you've got some time in there, and you can ride at your own time if you can't come and be with us. Also, if you want to just come and support those of us who are going to be there, that would be awesome, even if you don't plan to participate. Just give your support and encourage us to do the best we can.
Thank you, Shay.
Alright, I'll just mention quick, there's a good leadership opportunity if you guys want to talk to businesses on State Street and look for somewhere that we can set up in front and sell baked goods for. And then the rest of the stuff you can look over, and if you have any questions, you can email me.
If anyone has money for a t-shirt who hasn't paid or wants to order one, I'm going to stick around for like 5 minutes after the meeting, so just come find me over here, and yeah, that's all.
That rock climbing at Union South, no one's emailed me for it. We have equipment, we'd like to see it happen. There's a huge leadership opportunity. Get it going at Union South. I can see 6 or 7 points of leadership.
Possibly more
it's actually,
with bribery.
It could be a big thing for you to step up and take this opportunity to get involved and contact Union South and say, why don't we have this? We have the equipment. Let's do it. Cool.
There will be thank you cards circulating in the adapted fitness classes to thank sponsors for the adapted Berkey. It's already happened, so we're just basically thanking the people that made it possible. If you were involved in the event or just want to thank the people who put in time, effort, money to make these events possible, there will be cards and they will be circulating in all 3 classes, plus the pool. No real updates on junior nationals yet. That's a possible date for a qualifying meet. Not 100% set in stone. I will have more updates at the next meeting, and they will be more detailed then.
Open house, you guys know when it is, April 21st from 10 to 1. The flyer was made by Molly, who is in class. I have it on the next slide to show you guys. So you'll start seeing that around campus soon. We need to start getting information out to PTs and OTs So this is a great opportunity for you guys to get involved. If you're interested, let me know. You can get leadership points for it. We're also still working on getting donations. Thanks to everyone who has done that. If you signed up for donations, please make sure you're going and talking to them and checking up to, if you haven't heard from them in a little bit, be like, hey, have you thought any more about this? We need your help. And if you still want to go to businesses, you can still do that. This is the flyer that Molly made. I know it's hard to see and the font got a little messed up, but you'll see it around a lot more, and we'll probably be asked to hang it up places. So these are your leadership opportunities.
Okay. Thank you guys.
Sorry, that was a rapid fire. There's a lot of information all at once.
If you guys have questions for any specific board member, feel free to come